Uh, what do you want me to say? Bitcoin's pulling back. We had another FOMC meeting today with Jerome Powell, and he was just running the same old story about we have some challenging scenarios regarding the economy. I mean, your data came out good today, let's be honest. Manufacturing sector is still above 50. And of course, services came in higher as well. So, everything's all good. But you're starting to give the idea and lean more on the hawkish tone that maybe we're not going to get the rate cuts that we're wanting. But swap traders are betting for a different story. Now, the only reason I'm going live right now a little bit sooner is because we might end up seeing the dirty. We've had some movement right now on BlackRock. They have taken 3,500 Ethereum and deposited it to Coinbase. So that's going to be interesting. Let's see what happens there. Tonight, we're just going to break it all down and understand what's going on. It's just been a bit of a mixy day. I mean, the sell button works on Nasdaq as usual. Yesterday it didn't, and today it does. So, yeah, and it was a brutal reversal to the downside. I mean, they were holding it so much in the Asian session last night. But, of course, Japan was closed, so we're going to understand what they think about today. Overall, ladies and gentlemen, it's just not looking all right for crypto, but it's all perspective at the end of the day. It's whether you are happy at the fact that Bitcoin's getting cheaper. And tonight, I'm just going to dive into some levels that might actually help you understand what is likely to happen heading into the next few days. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, be bold or be dirty. Good night, Matrix. Okay, then. Thank you. What happened to your hairline? Brother, it's gone. I clipped it. I'll be getting a shave on tonight, man. I'm going to get rid of it. I can't stand hair on my head. But anyways, I've got some interesting news as well. We've seen this ETF that has just had a phenomenal amount of interest. I'm going to introduce it to you. It's just come across and I was like, what on earth is that? So we can see where money really is starting to get put. So any of you that play ETFs, this might be one for you. So let's break it all down. Let's try and keep this live short and sweet and give you everything that you need. By the way, I made some purchases today and I'll show you which ones that I got involved in. So let's get it all checked out. Here we go. So Bitcoin. 11,806, little bit of a shoe bag to the downside. Now, we were projecting the idea of Bitcoin coming down today for the Platinum members, and the Platinum membership is a place where I provide setups on a day-to-day basis for all the members. And today's projection on Bitcoin was quite interesting. So let me just show it to you. I wanted to see, and this is something you've got to take into consideration when you do trade. You have to ask yourself the question, what is it likely to do before it gets to what I need it to do? Okay? What will price likely do? And in the event that you can absorb that move, then if you're going to go with a bias to the downside or the upside, can your position allow you the drawdown of the way the market operates? Okay. So as you can see here, I wanted to see Bitcoin actually make a little bit of a markup to the upside, but I did stipulate in the video, and in the comment, it says, if Bitcoin cannot show signs of moving higher first, then a short entry within the initial balance of Asia is a possible entry zone between 112,897 and 112,835. Now, we had some targets that we wanted to see them take out. We wanted the target of 111,795. We hit that target. And then, of course, we wanted to see the 110,025. Now, that is a little bit of a bold move by myself, but if you look closely, you can see that the initial balance, which takes the first hour of Tokyo, which is at 1 a.m. UK time. So let me just show you. So this is Tokyo's balance here. This is the high, 1 a.m. And this is the low, 2 a.m. Okay, that was the 2 a.m. candle right there. So that would be effectively our low. So you can see here that price has stalled around the initial balance, found resistance at the top side of the range, swept the Asian session high. And if you'd have taken any of those entries, Platinum members, you'd be sitting in money on the move to the downside. We wanted to see a bit more of a movement up. We didn't quite get it, but we had a rejection, and then they just dropped Bitcoin to the downside. Now, this area here is just tethering on absolute thin ice. It's just holding on right now, and this is what we got to take into consideration. So let's break it down. In front of you is the liquidations chart. And this kind of puts things into perspective on what we can anticipate for Bitcoin in terms of leverage. Who's going to get smacked in the face? It looks like the longs are going to get smacked. And we're already starting to see some movement overall. I mean, look at this. BlackRock over here, the bottom right, is about to, or has deposited 3,500, nearly 3,600 Ethereum. Now, it doesn't look like it's too much anyway, but when it's coming off Ethereum, off BlackRock's ETF story, then that's a little bit of a problem, man. But 3,600 Ethereum is been put over to Coinbase, and obviously 19 hours ago, we've seen a lot of selling coming into play by BlackRock per se, and going into the balance itself. I mean, we're doing all right still. Where are we? Here we go. I can't complain too much. It's at 767,127. It's going to get readjusted as well. So we can't really complain too much about it. But of course, Bitcoin's drop to the downside has equally been met by the Nasdaq's flavorsome move to the downside. It's completely annihilated this range. Green vector candle recovery to the downside. Happy days right there. Now, let's just break it all down. Today, Powell, he didn't really give us anything. He just said that we got risk for inflation and we've got the risk for whether or not we decide to cut the rates. But bets are coming in, guys. They're still looking at 94.1%. 3.75%, 4% region. That's what they're looking for. The market is actually pricing in the idea that we're going to get about 43 points cut overall within this year. So it's going to be an interesting story. I mean, he did say that he's humming and ahhing about whether he's going to cut in October. So from now until then, which is in 35 days time, it's going to really give us an understanding of what we can expect. Now, remember, going into the calendar, we don't really have anything to be too concerned about tomorrow. So tomorrow's a great day. But we do have the unemployment claims coming out on Thursday and the core price index, which will be out on Friday. Core price index is projected to come in lower, which is good news. Okay, we want the core price index to go down because then that grants the idea that the Federal Reserve can see that inflation is starting to come lower. That's what it needs to see. If it comes in higher, then we got ourselves a little bit of a problem, ladies and gentlemen. Crypto bubble is finally burst. He said the market is highly valued. Oh, yeah, he did say that because stock bond ratio is showing that. Look at it. Stock bond ratio shows you how valuable are stocks relative to bonds. And we had a relatively decent bond auction today, which was not bad. And we got another one going into tomorrow. If we just actually change that up, actually, let's just go to our little filtericious and apply that. Where's our bond auction tomorrow? So Wednesday, we have Wednesday. Well, Trump speaking at 12 o'clock tonight. Interesting. What day is it today? Today is Wednesday. Yeah. Where's my bond auction? These guys ain't even putting that stuff up. What a joke. Why are they not putting that up? Look at these speakers on Thursday, man. We got all sorts of speakers coming into play. Okay, so they're not really actually mentioning it tomorrow, but we got a bond auction happening tomorrow, guys. But yeah, this chart right here shows you how bonds are undervalued relative to stocks. And usually when it hits an extreme like this, you can expect the stock market to pull back. Speaking of stock markets, ladies and gentlemen, check this bad boy out. ETF. It's been around for a little while, but we've seen some activity all of a sudden coming into play. Volume is up 763%. What on earth is going on? It's an ETF, exchange-traded fund seeking investment results corresponding to GT, the MSCI Saudi Arabia index. This is made up. This ETF is the capped one, okay? But this is made up of some interesting Arabian stocks. So you've got financial companies in there. You've got the bank. You've got a telecom company, Saudi Arabian mining, basic industries, a bank, a power company as well, another bank. So what's going on there? Who's planting that? I wonder who it is. Maybe we're starting to see emerging market story coming into play because when the Saudis start putting money somewhere, you know something's happening. But when people are starting to put money in Saudi, something's happening, okay? So that's something for you guys to just have a little gander on and check out. Speaking of buying stuff, I purchased Bullish, so I'm going to be scaling into this, seeing how it goes. This is my entry point right here. And if you want to try and take advantage of buying Bullish as well, BTCC give you the option to actually trade tokenized stocks. All right. So if you want the link for that, go in the description and you'll be able to check that out. So I've purchased Bullish, and I've also got on Circle. I brought Circle. Now, these are leveraged positions, and I'm just going to play them just very slowly right now. What we're doing. Yeah, very slowly. And what the plan is if I can see that I'm on my other wallet. So what I'm going to do is buy the shares fully without the option to short it, no leverage. I'm just going to go and buy the amount of shares in Bullish and, of course, Circle. And then what I'm planning on doing is, depending on what's going on my position that I'm holding on spot as such, I'll start shorting these if I do see that the markets are starting to turn to the downside. Okay, so that's the benefit. I'm using this platform to really hedge myself. Right now, I'm in the anticipation that both Bullish and Circle are going to look to start climbing back up. There's going to be some movement to the upside, because what's going on is the market is actually trying to price in higher chances of interest rates coming lower. So that's something that's going to be happening. So I'm going to be trading that logic. And historically, what usually happens is when you get a rate cut, the stock market does actually expand out for a little bit, and that's what I'm actually doing. I'm just trading that window, and the window is, as we get closer and closer to the idea that we're indefinite with the rate cuts and we know what the path is for rate cuts, then, because right now we don't know if we are going to see rate cuts coming into play throughout the year or even next year. There's not, as Powell put it over here. Where did he say it? Where are you? He says there is zero risk. He said, where are you? Here we go. No risk-free path. This is why it's so important that you understand the terminology that they use, okay? No risk-free path effectively means that you ain't getting low interest rates like we did back in the day when it was less than 2.5, less 0.5%. You know, those days were absolutely wonderful, and that is what triggered the bull run back in 2021. Now you got yourself a little bit of a story where the market is so overvalued because of tech, and tech keeps on coming out with partnerships and what have you, which is fueling commitment to come into the marketplace. That's what's got everybody a little bit mixed up. Volatility index is starting to move up, so hedging process is starting to come into play, which is very interesting. But looking at this chart in relation to Bitcoin, we've got quite a few longs that are probably most likely going to be tested, ladies and gentlemen. There's lots of high leverage liquidation points in the 111,000 region itself, and we're not too far away from that point with Viva la Bitcoin. Just having a look at it, you can see 111,709. You got 111,000 over there. So let's just go over to the higher time frames. And this is part and parcel of the hybrid system. Check this out. 8-hour time frame puts things into perspective for me, right? The only next logical spot really for Bitcoin is here, and it's the same on the daily time frame. But what I like to do is I like to understand what's going on in this area here. What validates the idea that Bitcoin could come back down to that point? Because Bitcoin can easily snap reverse from here and come back up. That's something you've got to take into consideration. So I'll start looking at different time frames, and I can see I've got this area here for Bitcoin, which is a blue vector candle block. This was the start of the price movement to the upside, where they come up and they come down, tested the block, and then made the reversal to the upside. Logic says that that's a zone where Bitcoin is more than likely going to want to attack by the principle of orders, but also what's going on the order book. You can see that today we saw a little bit of bids coming in, but the offers, even though they were up there, they couldn't quite succeed at getting their fills today. And the book itself is absolutely dead. Look at it. No one wants to offer, and there is more commitment on the bid side to buy Bitcoin. I mean, I did see a big order earlier on. Where was it? There was a huge order. It was about 58 million or something like that. I swear I saw it earlier on. Not there. He must have pulled it. He must have pulled that order. But we can see that we've got some big commitment down here. Like, you've got lots of interest. And when you see the bids collectively coming up into, 101,000, you've got some orders down there. It's a little bit dispersed. As you can see, there's gaps, but that's a little bit of a problem for us, ladies and gentlemen. You know? What else? Don't like the orange guy. Tino, say he trading view. Bullish, 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 bullish. Listen, right, look. Listen, just be careful, right? Every time Bitcoin drops, logic says that people are buying, but we are in a bit of a tricky scenario. You know something's wrong when Nasdaq makes consecutive back-to-back all-time highs. Look, let me show you, okay? So let's just have a look at this, Nasdaq. Just to put it into perspective as well, today, look at the stocks that were up on volume. Now, I want you guys to just check this out, okay? This is a list of stocks, before I get into what I'm talking about. This is a list of stocks that are up on volume today, okay? Look at what's going on. Pharmaceutical companies, Turquoise Pipeline, energy. We've got financial companies coming into play, acquisition as well, Scientific, Churchill Capital, Solar Rock Holdings, Rolls-Royce, all right, banks, so finance, Better Home and Finance. This is where you can identify when the market takes a shoe bag to the downside, looking at stocks that are up on volume on the day that the markets are down, okay, that's going to tell you where money is starting to transition in terms of stock rotation. You've also got the small caps. Usually when small caps start to dominate, that's a little bit of a problem. Why? Because when the small cap stocks start to do well, when everything isn't doing too great and you've got the mega caps not doing good, it means that investors aren't looking at keeping money locked in mega cap stocks. That means they want growth. They want longer term holdings. Whereas with small cap, it's like, okay, what's it doing today? Right, by Thursday, or let's say buy on Monday, by Friday, we're going to get rid of this stock, okay? When you start to see small cap stocks doing really, really well, that's a sign that there's a rotation in the stock market, that investors aren't looking for the long term when it comes to buying bigger stocks. That is equally the same over here with the yields market. The yields are currently basing out inside of this range right now. And if the yields are going down, you can see they're actually starting to come up the 2-year. But if the yields are down, it's great for the stock market. Yields are up, it's bad for the stock market. And we're going to start seeing some transitions happening with the yields market if the bond auctions don't come through really well. We did have a good bond auction today, but the actual yields themselves will start to continue to move up, which will have pressure on the stock market. But like I said, take a screenshot of this and go and research these stocks so you can understand what industries are actually performing well during these mad times that we're witnessing across the board. But let me explain to you what I was saying. Look, Nasdaq, it's been making moves to the upside, okay? Something's wrong in the marketplace because positively correlated assets are not moving the way they should, okay? Let me explain. Nasdaq's been making significant moves to the upside. It hasn't stopped hitting all-time highs. Can you extend the live a little bit? Hard day. I'll do what I can, my friend. I don't want to bore you all, but let's see what here we just stick with me here. Look, Nasdaq's been rising up on volume at all-time highs. Wonderful. Bitcoin, at the same token, has done what? Bitcoin has done nothing but correct away. Okay, that's no good. All right. Usually when Nasdaq pumps, Bitcoin pumps. When the Nasdaq drops, Bitcoin drops. But what we've been getting is Bitcoin has been dropping and the Nasdaq's been pumping. It's telling you that people aren't going into risk. That's the first thing that's not right, okay? Equally, you've got the euro. Euro's been a bit of a pain in the backside. It's just been going up and down. It's not really doing what we want it to do. But when we look at the bigger picture of things, you can appreciate that if interest rates are going to be cut down, then that means that the yield on the euro is going to be more favorable. They're going to want to go into euro because the dollar's going to go down. But if the idea of interest rates ain't going to be getting cut, then you're going to be stuck in this, hold on a second, should I go over to dollars or should I go over to euro? Okay. And given that the data today did give us the idea that the manufacturing sector itself, where are we? Tuesday? Yeah, the flash manufacturing data, came in earlier on at 51.9. No, that's the UK. My days. Here we are. Yeah, there we are. 52 and 52 spot and then 53.9, even though it's still above 50. That's good news, okay? But the euro has continued its move higher because the story is that we are looking like we're going to get the rate cut, so they're pricing it all in, okay? But euro usually moving up means Bitcoin should be moving up because it's against the US dollar. That's not happening because euro is up and Bitcoin is down. Let's go and have a look at gold. Gold has moved up, but starting to pull back a little bit now, all right? It has been extended to the upside, but look at that, nearly clipping that $3,800, right? So gold's going up relative to the dollar, but it makes sense. When the stock market goes down, gold goes up. But what's going on now is gold's coming down and the stock market is down, euro is up, okay? What I'm trying to say to you is the correlations aren't really adjusting themselves because everything is mixed right now. Investors are trying to work out where they should put their money based off macroeconomic data that is being released. They're not being clear with the path for interest rates. If we knew for a fact that Powell says that this year you're going to get 2 cuts, next year you're going to get 3, investors will be piling into the marketplace because they know exactly where they stand. And that's the story with Bitcoin as well. Investors are like humming and ahhing. I mean, look at this story over here. Ethereum. 20% slide, and there's just been $1 billion worth of bets coming into play by the whales. So what's going on? Is it a shakeout? Binance has been offloading their Ethereum. BlackRock's done exactly the same thing by getting rid of 3,630 Ethereum. So why has everyone got it in for crypto? Well, hold on a second, ladies and gentlemen. Let's be logical right now. Bitcoin hasn't stopped moving up from the April high, from the April low of the tariff story. You can't complain about Bitcoin. Let's go over to Ethereum. Ethereum has been moving up quite aggressively since April. It's done wonderful. You can't complain. You didn't hit your all-time high, but never mind. BNB is the only one that's smashing it for me. It's like, if you want to know if altcoin season's happening, just trade BNB and buy it. But obviously now it's just made a massive move to the upside. So, I mean, look at Solana. I mean, Solana's just taken an absolute obliteration, but Solana's been doing fantastic. You can't complain about these levels, ladies and gentlemen. You can't complain about them. You naturally want to see price starting to correct so you can start looking to buy. Logic says that you would be selling this rally, and then you're going to be taking your profits and then getting ready for the next dip for it to then start working its way back up again. Okay? Because when you think about it, if you're holding onto your bag, right, and you are in profits with your portfolio as such, then sitting there watching them, what's that going to do? You've got to appreciate there's going to be cycles, man. Things are changing. And if you're holding on to your portfolio, I mean, only last week, everyone was like, altcoins are going to make a significant move to the upside because they're going to cut the rates. And that was when altcoin season index was showing 88. Now we're at 63. Now everyone's saying altcoin season is in the bin. I mean, come on. If your altcoin has made significant movements, take the money and then get ready for the next opportunity to buy into it. That's all you've got to do. I mean, take it from me. I don't even need to sell this asset because it doesn't move. So I'm not worried about it. It doesn't move. So why should I sell it? Tell me. Why? It goes nowhere. It's the only altcoin that just regulates my blood pressure. No, it doesn't. It actually stresses me out. XRP is going to be coming down to around $2.45, by the way. That's where it's going to be going. All right, that's my price projection, and I say it with pride. This is going to take a slump. It's going to go down, and that's it. Down. XRP down. Yes. Buy more of it, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we want to see, because I promise you it won't do anything when you buy it. That's the great news. And we're coming out with some price projections. $1,000 XRP. Maybe the seed coin, but not this. Not this. I mean, I stand to be corrected, ladies and gentlemen. I really do. So, I was thinking about selling my gold trade that I hold since April to buy GDXJ. Thoughts? Don't sell me Circle or bullish, though. GDXJ. Let's have a look. Is that a stock? Hold on. Is that a stock? GDXJ. What is that? Oh. All right, look, this is back to the idea of, all right, look, because China's loading up on its bullion, okay, everything in gold is going to go up. Anything related, ETFs, it's all going to go up, okay? However, it might be the end of it. It might be looking for a little bit of a pullback, okay? But whatever profits you're getting from your gold trade, just what you got to understand, it's like this with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's price right now is 111,000. Bitcoin ETF price is around $66 or something like that. Okay. What do you buy more of? You can buy more of the ETF, of course. Okay. Same way with gold. It's $3,780 an ounce. What can you buy more of? The ETF. That's the whole point of the ETF. To make it accessible for investors if they don't want to take on the risk of being on spot and they want some more legitimacy behind it as such. And they want things to be, the ETF itself has got certain volume, certain legislation behind it, but ultimately it's still a risk. So you're not protected from that. But, an ETF is a different story because you can start moving things, start adding to it. You get the idea. But All banks are buying up XRP. Yeah, to sell it to you. Wanting to get into Circle, what method? 5K buys, just nibble or wait? I know, not financial advice. Listen, my logic with Circle, okay, and I'm saying this now, and that's why I've got the positions here. I'm starting off like I bought bullish and I've bought Circle, and I'm going to be buying them on another platform as well. They're all long-term plays. I'm paying close attention to the story of what's going on with Circle and bullish, okay? So Circle right now seems to have bottomed out inside of this range, okay? Volume to the downside is not high, it's low, and price action is pulling back. I don't care if this continues to go down. If it goes down, I buy more, okay? I'm doing this play, and I don't know what money I'm going to make, and I don't know how much I'm going to lose. But I'm playing the logic that this company, okay, is trying to get really deep with the stablecoin story, but I'm not buying it for that. I'm buying it because I actually believe Circle are going to start buying up as many stablecoin companies as they physically can, okay? There's going to be mergers and acquisitions coming into play when it comes to Circle. It's the only logical thing for every company to get involved in. Start buying up your competition, all right? Look what NVIDIA has done. It's invested in Intel. It's invested in Oracle. It's invested in OpenAI. It's regardless of, it's not necessarily taken over, but it's doing something with its money to expand on the service that it's providing. This is going to be the only next logical thing for it to do. You've got Coinbase, you've got Circle, you've got Bullish, you've got Gemini, you've got Riot, you've got Mara, and they are all stocks, crypto stocks that are based on the US stock market. Someone's going to come around and say, you know what, I like that stock, I'm going to buy it. Circle turns around and says, we're going to buy Mara. Happy days. All right, that inflates Circle's share price. That does great for Mara. You know, you get the idea. That's what I'm doing with Bullish and what I'm doing with Circle. Okay, so I'm going to keep you guys posted on that bad boy. And if you want to buy it and you don't get access to it, just go check out BTCC. That's where you're going to be able to start buying it and trade it as tokenized. I'm going to be buying it. I'm going to go long. I'm going to go short on here, but I'm buying the stocks as well. Okay, as long-term plays, but I'm going to be doing the same thing on here as well. Okay, right now, I believe the expectation that they are going to try and climb up a little bit because they've had some good news and everyone's going to start jumping into bullish, in my opinion. I mean, if we just go over to bullish right now, let's have a look. You can see that we haven't got yet. I haven't seen it, but we haven't had an update on the number of fund owners coming into play and holding this stock. Okay, but management holds 71% of the shares, so that naturally is going to end up making me see that it's more than likely going to start moving back up because there's going to be a low supply on the amount of fund owners that are going to be able to play with. So that's something that we can take into consideration. Okay, cool. Where'd you buy Circle? What platform? BTCC. It's links in the description, and you get you don't need KYC or VPN or anything like that. Great for anyone in the United States. Just go and check it out. It's in the description for you, my friend. Never mind. Anyways. Yeah, Intel made a good move today. There you go. XRP is going to 1 million with a market cap of quadrillion. You see, people talk sense. Circle too soon, going to buy in the next year during the recession. That's what I mean. It doesn't matter when you buy it, depending on the logic of what you're buying it for. The logic that you are buying it, all right? Are you buying it because you want to see it go from $69 to $89? No, I'm not buying it for that. I'm buying it because I believe this company is going to be buying up everyone and anyone in the stablecoin game. Okay, that's what I think is going to be happening with Circle. They've spent too much time trying to get listed on the stock market, and merger and acquisitions is the best way for a company to really expand and just grow, you know, and that's massive for me. That is massive. QBTS has been killing it. I know. QBTS, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, man. QBTS. I gave you this one. Quantum stock base. I mean, come on, man. This thing's just smashing it apart. Listen, quantum-based stocks are the one, all right? Give it time. Quantum-based and humanoid robotics. Get involved in companies that are around that. I'm going to be diving into all of that stuff. I'm going to be showing you what I find out and what have you. And then we're going to start putting money to it. But this one here, quantum, it's just absolutely brilliant, man. It's brilliant. Okay? Cool. Irish Dutchman, stop it. I always read your comments, but they always end up being wild, man. Yes, have you liked the video? No, you haven't. Never mind. Okay, then. So, any questions? What's the smart money, dumb money chart up to? The smart money, dumb money chart, my friends, Dumb money is extremely optimistic. Smart money is neutral. Dumb money is just about to cross the line. Okay. So everyone's like, woohoo. Let's just buy and just go crazy. But problem is, dumb money is at the peak right now, but smart money isn't at an extreme. So smart money is not necessarily selling. They've been selling beforehand. All right. That was the high. Now it's just consolidating here, which is really interesting for me. Very interesting. So that tells me that smart money could actually start off buying things up. So corrective move to the downside, reset, blue line crosses over the dumb money, dumb money line. Dumb money comes all the way down here. Oh my God, we're losing. The world's coming to an end. And then that's when smart money says, okay, let's start selling again. And then everything starts shooting back up. Just look at the extremes. This here, look, that story right there. April. Yeah, April. All right, tariff story. Smart money was buying up everything because it started to correct it. Look when. No. Okay, look. Look when we had the tariff story. Okay, look at this tariff story. Smart money was buying. They were buying. As it goes down, they start from the top. Look at the top. The top part was right there, okay? Just at that point. They were buying from there. Now look at the expansion away from it. That's something we've got to pay attention to. Just this chart alone gives you enough information about the narrative across the board, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, Oana, thank you very much for that. On that, what do you think about nuclear energy? You know what? Fusion. Fusion power. That's something that I am going to be diving into, ladies and gentlemen. Just comment below and tell me what stocks you want me to dive into, and I will come across them and I will start talking about them in the lives, ladies and gentlemen, because we can do a deep dive on a lot of things. But for you guys, quantum-based computing and, of course, humanoid robotic companies, get involved. Look at the potential market cap for robotics in 2030, going into 2035. But I do believe that those figures are actually dud. In other words, once we start getting really into robotics, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be an absolute wild one at how fast they are going to advance with everything. So just go check that out, okay? Bruv, why you shave your head? Symbolic for a crash soon?